so thank you for being here. My name is Meisale Cantu. I'm one of the climate change teachers for GOA, and we have Denisse Blanca with us today. And I would like everybody to just kind of introduce yourselves just to see where you are. And are you a senior, a junior, a freshman? And that's it. Caitlin, would you like to start?
Okay, I'm Caitlin. I live in Miami, Florida, and I'm a junior.
All right. Lenny?
I'm Daniela. I'm from Connecticut, but right now I'm in Florida, and I'm a senior.
All right. Bagrav?
My name is Bhargav Karan, and I live in Chennai, India, and I'm a senior.
All right. And Denisse?
Great. I'm Denisse Blanca. I live in Mexico, and I work at CEMEX in the corporate social responsibility area. And I would love to have a conversation with you. Thank you, Ale, for inviting me. And before we start, I would like to know, what are you studying? Are your majors related to sustainability, to climate change, to social responsibility?
Oh, no, these guys are in high school.
Oh, you're in high school, sorry.
Yeah.
You look like college. I'm old, so Great. So you're still deciding on what you will study. So I would love for this to be a conversation. So please feel free. Ale has been sharing your questions with me. I could start a little bit about my story and how did I get to CEMEX? Or how do you see this going, Ale?
Yeah, perfect. Please give us a little background of, because I don't know, Denise, can I say this? When you were in high school, were you thinking this is what you were going to be doing now?
Okay. Definitely not even in college. So okay. I think college and high school are great tools to help you have a discipline and responsibility. But I think in the end, you should study what you love. That's what I did, because you can do anything. If you really don't know that you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor, you can study anything you want, and then you can practically learn on the job. And I think that's where you learn the most. So I'll give you a bit of a background of why you're going to see my kids running in the back.
My kid is next to me, so I got that.
Oh, hi. Mila, say hi. So I have 3 kids. They're in school, but I'm homeschooling now. And I started when I was in high school. Mi amor. ¿Les quieres decir algo? I really wanted to learn about history in the world, and I think that's what shaped me getting here. When I finished high school, I studied abroad in Switzerland to study French and AP courses, because I wanted to be an engineer back then. And because my parents were an engineer, my sisters were engineers, so that's what I was supposed to do. But then after living a year in Europe, I loved the different cultures, loved exchanging ideas and seeing how every country had different ways of living, and how we could take that back to our countries, take the best of what people are doing all over and integrate it into our culture. So I decided to study international relations here in Tec de Monterrey, which is a college in Mexico. And during my studies, I really focused on diplomacy. I really wanted to work in the embassies and in the consulates. I did internships in the Canadian consulate here for commercial practices. Then I studied again abroad in the US, in Canada, and in France, because I really wanted to learn more. I was really amazed with the cultures and how we could avoid wars just by analyzing the mistakes of the past. So after graduating my bachelor, I wanted to work for a couple of years, and I started working in the Museum of Mexican History here, based in Monterrey. And it was an experience, and I saw some of the questions that how did that shape me to where I am today. I think it was a really good experience because I was in charge of the PR and all of the um, visitors that came from abroad to Monterrey. Monterrey is a really industrial city, so we have a lot of companies from all over the world, and I was responsible of receiving these visitors and telling them about our history, and also trying to work with colleges also here in Mexico to document our history and to make business cases of how we could improve our culture. And after a couple of years of working at the TEC de Monterrey and at the Museum of Mexican History, I knew I had to work in something bigger. I didn't know it was going to be Cemex, but I wanted to work in a multinational company which I could impact people around the world. So basically, I wanted to help people have a better quality of life and well-being by my job. So I started seeking a master's degree. I had been working for a couple of years, and I knew I had to keep on studying because I really do love studying, and I wanted to be more prepared. And I wanted to live in London. It was one of the countries I hadn't lived before, and I was like, I really want to go to London and learn more about the culture, but I want to have a scholarship because master's degrees are a bit expensive. So I decided to seek for scholarships, and I got accepted to several universities in the outsides of London, but the tuition, I didn't get full scholarships. So I decided to look to study a master's degree where I could get a full scholarship, and I got that here in our School of Government. So I started public policy and public administration with a focus on Mexico and how to develop the more poorer and vulnerable states in our country, which are located in the south. And I also wanted to study in Harvard. It was one of my check. Living in London, studying Harvard, so I I got to study a summer in Harvard in the JFK School of Government, and it was a scholarship paid by Cemex. I actually didn't work in Cemex back then, but one of my teachers did. So he made this contest, and you had to apply, made some essays, and that's how I got to check my dream to go to Harvard. And then at the end of my master's, I had the option to do like a thesis or an internship. And the internship was something that I suggested. And this is like an advice I should give to you. There is nothing written in stone. And if you really want to do something, you can actually go and propose and suggest to your teachers. Because my teacher, I had a very good teacher who was from Germany. So he was really open-minded, and I said, I don't want to do a document. I want to go and live the experience in London, and I found a job. So what if instead of this document, I go and work, and this is my thesis? So I did it, and I went and worked in London in Cemex, and that's how I started my journey at Cemex. And he was like, "You're the only one that hasn't done the document," and it was okay, but you have to really enjoy what you do and not just check what your syllabus is. So I went to London, and then I got married. So I was going to go and live to the U.S. My husband lived in Detroit back then, and I got an offer here in Cemex in Monterrey after the internship in London. So it was a really tough decision. And we decided that in the end, as a family, we wanted to live here because he's also from Mexico, but he was studying college in Detroit. So after a 6-month conversation, which was really hard, we decided to come back to Mexico. And that's how I started my career at Cemex. I worked there for 10 years in HR, and mostly in culture and shaping the career path of our top executives. And 3 years ago, I decided to make a career change within Cemex and started the corporate social responsibility area was really strong in Latin America, but not globally. So we developed the area global 3 years ago, and that's where I am. I am also shaping culture and responsible for the communication, internal, external, and the sustainable development goals, how to integrate them into our strategy. And now I am really fulfilling my dream of helping the communities and helping society improve their quality of life and well-being through our day-to-day activities. So that's a brief
that was
history.
brief. Thank you.
I could go on and on and on. But please tell me more focused questions. What would you like to learn about my job, about my life decisions? I'm an open book.
I'll go. So what kind of challenges does the company face while trying to have a culture of sustainability?
Sustainability is one of our priorities. So I think we see these challenges the world is facing today, such as poverty or lack of education or lack of employment, as opportunities. Particularly in the social responsibility area, we are focusing on identifying these challenges and see how we can turn them into business opportunities for the company, but also for the society. For example, we have our inclusive business models, which actually help people in really vulnerable situations to build their home. And we offer them microfinancing to this part of the population that do not have access to banks, for example. So they get to build their home in a much quicker time with really good material and technical advice, and also with microfinancing. And for us, it's business because we're selling our products, we're selling our expertise. So it is a challenge, but we really do see these challenges as business opportunities.
Perfect, thank you.
You work in responsible business. I kind of understand what responsible business means, but like, what do you do on like a daily basis? Like, what is your role?
My role and the role of my team is we're at corporate. So CEMEX is structured by countries. We have cement plants in 24 countries and we trade in 50. And it's all coordinated by the headquarters, which are based here in Monterrey. So what we do is to facilitate the processes for the people living in the countries. So we're like the institutional guides to develop a program that will help the local unemployment, or develop a program to help social innovation in the rural or urban areas. So what we do is really innovate processes to make it simpler for the companies, for the people in the operation to operate. And my role in particular is to communicate and also to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into our strategy, to really focus on those priority ones that are business for CEMEX, and to continue strengthening the processes to make all CEMEX a responsible business. So that's why our area is, we're facilitators. The idea is to help other areas improve their processes.
Thank you.
I have a question. Does your company use any renewable energy sources while like manufacturing the cement?
Yes, I know my colleagues in the energy department do. We actually have an area that is dedicated to renewable energy, and we operate that here in Mexico and in Europe, and that's where it's stronger. But yes, we do use renewable resources.
Like what? Sorry. Like do you know?
Like tires. Like you can in Europe. When I actually started my internship, I was really impressed that by law, Germany asks companies to integrate the tires that are not being used into their fuel, so it can be used as an alternative fuel. So the idea is to innovate. We have a really good Center for Research in Development in Switzerland. And what our team over there does is to see how we can also improve the use of renewable resources, but also make different types of concrete, like concrete that can help to recreate mangroves. So we actually have that. We have it's in our integrated reports, the past two. If you would like to see, there's a picture of this mangrove that was renewed because of the concrete that was developed, so that plants can grow in this mangrove. So it's really amazing what our innovation teams are doing. And there's also the fun type of concrete that floats or that smells like vanilla or that doesn't help water go through. So it's really fun.
Denise, I was reading an article the other day about, I think it was here in Mexico. I want to say it was in Mexico, where they were using tires, like discarded tires, to make pavement, like for roads. Was it Mexico? I want to say Mexico. Can't remember, but it was. So they were using trash and they were using recycled materials and they were mixing it with a type of cement to make pavement. And so,
Yes,
is that something you guys do?
yes, that's something we do. And we try to buy from the locals. For example, in Spain, about 3 years ago, I in HR I was leading the HR function in Spain, and I got to visit all the plants. And there's this really small plant in the town of Zaragoza, which is actually about 1 hour from Zaragoza, and it's the cement plant, and that's it. There's nothing more in the community. But the people from the cement plant buy the trash from the people in the community. They employ the people in the community. They eat all in the same place. I got to eat there. So it's like trying to make the circular economy to help the people. It's all about creating shared value for the company and for the people as well. So yes, we do. Going back to the tires, we do try to buy all of the local compost that can be used and integrated by formulas to keep the cement strong into our processes.
Wow.
Are most of CMEX's sustainable actions cost effective?
Are our actions cost effective? The sustainable actions? Yes, definitely. We are a company, and all of our actions have to have profit. So we have been working for quite some time with FSG, which is Shared Value Initiative from Michael Porter. I don't know if you've heard of them, but if not, I really recommend you to go just Google FSG Shared Value. And this is how companies really identify those opportunities that are connected to the business. So that is why sustainability is business, because you have to identify those that are connected to your expertise and see how you can create a business that is profitable for the company, but also benefits economically the society, either by creating local employment or by entrepreneurship.
Anybody else have a question?
I just wanted to ask you about the CO2 levels while manufacturing cement, because I've seen some cement plants in India, and I see these big industrial chimneys which like produce a lot of smoke. So, like, does your company produce like lesser CO2 levels than others?
We do produce CO2, and our CEO is really committed with climate change. So we just launched our climate strategy, which is online. If you go to cemex.com, it's an ambitious climate strategy, and I don't know the exact target, but he has set some specific targets to lower the CO2 impact.
Denise, I have a question for like the future. For example, I know that Cemex is obviously a cement company, But as we are moving into being more sustainable and more climate change friendly, eco, green, whatever, like all of these things, right? Does CEMEX have a plan to be able to move into that future? It's like, is this part of like what the CEO just made this plan is part of that vision for CEMEX to be a company that can renew itself in a way so that it is still so they won't lose business one day. Like one day, if we decide that cement is the worst thing in the world, then what would Cemex do? Like how can they be relevant in this world?
Yes, for sure. I'm not familiar with this, but the strategic planning team for sure is planning that. What I can tell you is based on my experience in HR. In HR, we had different types of leadership programs for the high potentials in our company, and we had this program, and we still have it, which is called Envision. And Envision is planning the future. And we had this scenario type planning, and what if in 50 years we're not going to build with cement or with wood, or what do you see? And that's how we start accelerating the innovation at Cemex, so that our employees are thinking like, in 50 years from now, what if we live in the clouds? Or I'm just kidding, but to have them really thinking outside the box. And I agree, we have to keep innovating, and innovating is also part of our DNA. So definitely there's someone in the company thinking about that.
All right. Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody
Very
else have
good
another
questions.
question?
Thank you.
No? We're good? All right.
Great. So
Well,
great to meet you.
Thank you all.
Ale.
All right. Have a good day,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.